welcome. We are back. We are live. We are talking Bengals offensive line against the AFC North, how they stack up. Not that bad, surprisingly. It's been a long time since we said that, which is exciting. We'll talk about the Ring of Honor. The votes, they're all coming in. Boy, I don't know about it. We're going to talk about the criteria around that. Are there any battles, starting, backups, end of roster battles on offense, all offense today, and we'll switch to defense next week. Could Zac get canned? We'll talk about my projections back in the 2018 draft when I was on TV, radio, podcast. Looking pretty damn good now, boy. 9 years later, which is hard to believe. We're going to hit it all. The Jaxson Dart controversy, the Sorsby controversy. We're going to leave the Jacobs controversy out. I love the word controversy. We're going to talk about it all next on the Brotherhood of the Bengal.
Brotherhood of the Bengal. Brotherhood of the Bengal. In the river fog we gathered, striped and bound by autumn air. Hands on hearts we share the stories of the claws and of the lair.
What's up, Steve? Hey, boy. Sunshine. What is this?
Sunshine. Yeah, feels like what's it called? Summer.
Summer. We're almost there.
Yeah.
Like we lived in a rainforest. You know, people say, it rains in Florida every day. Yeah, for 10 minutes, and it's warm and nice, and you're on a beach. That's not what we experienced. It was awful.
It was awful.
Drains your energy, just brutal on the joints. So glad it's over for a while anyway. We got dry weather for a while. I'm ready for a drought. Drought time, baby. We got lots to talk about.
It might be coming.
It probably will. Probably will. That's a whole lot of water. We should be good for a while. The yard's still soaked, muddy, nasty. Rough on a dog when you take him out all the time. He comes in all nasty. We got a lot to talk about, boy. First, what are you drinking, Home Fry? We know the answer to that.
Yep, we know the answer. Sense of Light.
We love it. We love it.
The natural.
You are the natural. You are the natural. I got a Perdomo cigar. Been smoking on for a while. Good stuff. Feels good to be outside. We love it. Season's fast approaching, man. You know, it's coming quick. We'll be at the stadium, we think, for a visit. Then you got training camps coming up, all kinds of stuff. Rumors galore. The A.J. Brown trade's still out there. We'll hit on that as well. I didn't talk about that. Rumors galore. Vrabel speaking now. Stuff going on around the league. But first, we'll talk about the Cincinnati Bengals. The offensive line, we'll do it like we have been every week. We'll start across the league. Voice a little shaky still from all the weather, I believe. We will start with the Baltimore Ratbirds. Ronnie Stanley's still hanging in there. He's oft injured Ronnie Stanley. The rookie Ione, a guard. I like him. I think he's going to be good. I was still taking Bain over him, but I think other than there. Bullock at center. John Simpson, free agent from the New York Jets. And Rosengarten's still a player. They, of course, lost Tyler Linderbaum, who went to the Raiders. That was a big loss for them. They can frame it how they want. That is a big loss. We'll save the Bengals for last. We go over to the Cleveland Browns. This might be their Achilles heel, I think. They signed Zion Johnson, Elgin Jenkins, both are in. Tevin Jenkins and guard. Left tackle, Spencer Fano. I do like Spencer Fano. We both do. I thought that was a really nice pick.
Yep.
Tevin Jenkins at right guard, and then Ty Howard at right tackle. You know, they've had, to be fair to them, their offensive line has stunk, but, man, they've had a rash of injuries the last 2 or 3 years, right?
Man.
A rash of injuries on the offensive line. That can kill most teams. They did draft Austin Barber in the 3rd round as a backup. We both liked him coming in. So they did a lot of things we liked across the board, unfortunately, but that appears to be a solid. I'm curious how Fano will do a left tackle, though. They make it – we'll get into it a little bit more, but they act like it's no big deal. We'll just push a guy inside. Or we'll just switch him to right tackle to left tackle. It's a big deal, man. Your footwork's different. You've been training that way forever. He played right tackle almost entirely at Utah. I think that's a big deal, and it's not a guarantee it's going to work. The Pittsburgh Steelers have Aaron Rodgers back now officially. They've got Fontenot at left tackle, McCormick at guard. Zach Frazier's a good player at center. Spencer Anderson, and then they drafted Ian Hawkcore, however you say it. Max, we'll call him, And Jennings Dunker, at right guard as a backup. I like that pick. I did not like Max where they took him. Of course, they didn't want to take him there. So they messed up in the draft, which was hilarious. Your Pittsburgh Steelers. I think he might develop into a solid tackle in time, but man, Rodgers is 40. It's the same theory we talked about with the Bengals, with contracts and things in and up. But with them, Rodgers, this is it probably.
Yeah.
And you're putting a rookie right tackle out there that fundamentally struggled in college. I like it, but I don't think it's going to work well for them. All right, we moved to Cincinnati, and, they stay healthy. You got Orlando Brown, a left tackle, Dylan Fairchild, who played really well as a rookie. At left guard, Ted Karras, some of these guys are getting a little long in the tooth, especially Karras. But you can play longer inside at an advanced age more so than you can on the outside. Dalton Risner, Pennsylvania guard, and I think he will start there. I thought he played really well. Question with him throughout his career has been, can he stay healthy? Amarius Mims, kind of the same with health, but you can see him getting bigger. Getting better. He is a huge individual. Jalen Rivers is the backup of guard. Connor Lew, who we've talked about, should be healthy as a backup center. And Brian Parker, who they drafted as a backup left guard. Depth-wise at tackle, is not good, friends. It is not good at all. They've still got Cody Ford penciled in as a backup tackle. If he is a tackle, he is one of the worst tackles in the league, if not the worst tackle in the league. At guard, he's okay. Your thoughts, rank him, my friend.
So honestly, none of them are great, right? Like they just aren't. Cleveland had a nice run. They really did. They had an offensive line for a bunch of years that was super stout. Great coach. I don't think that's the case now.
Nope.
Pittsburgh, I think they're the bottom of the barrel. I really do. I don't like that line at all. So I'm going to go probably Baltimore, Cincy, Cleveland, and then Pittsburgh. It's really close, I think, between Baltimore and Cincy. And here's why. So if Fairchild takes just a small step for what he done as a rookie and the experience that he got, and now Joe's back, which will make a difference. If and I'm gonna say if here about 5 times, okay? If Orlando Brown can stay healthy, he's still an more than adequate left tackle, okay? Agreed. Especially how Joe can move in the pocket. Risner, I think he is what he is, but the continuity that he made with Mims last year was huge. They played really well together. Their communication was great, not just okay, great. And I think he helped Mims a lot.
Now, a lot of experience.
Yes. And if I'm telling you right now, if Mims takes the step that I think he's going to take, he is going to be out of it. He's going to be a stud. He's just going to be a stud. He's big. He's athletic. If he can get better in the run game, watch out. The depth is really, really what makes it that, the tiebreaker where I think Baltimore gets them a little bit. If Parker can be something, you know what I mean, where he can be that left tackle or right tackle instead of Cody freaking Ford, that's a big problem, dude.
Oh yeah.
Because Ford can't even come close to playing tackle.
He's too slow.
Side.
He's just too slow.
And he's a below average guard. You know what I mean? He's if you need him in a pinch, he can come in and play some guard for you, but he is not.
He's built like a brick shit house, whatever that old saying is. His lower body is huge.
Yeah.
But his feet are slow. Man.
He's just not there.
He doesn't have length.
Lou, I think, is he's probably their future center of future. So, and if something would happen to Ted, and let's be honest, a center don't block probably 50-60% of the time anyway.
Yeah.
He's helping. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? He's helping. He's still fairly stout against some of these noses.
He's a solid player.
Yeah, he's solid. And for what they're paying, absolutely. Keep him around until he's not worth keeping around. I like him. Pittsburgh, man, I don't know. with Rodgers the way he is now, just getting older in the tooth and just not moving well. And at tackle, they're hurting, and I love it.
Yep,
I love every bit of it.
Yeah, I've got it. I think the Bengals are the best offensive line with the Ravens second. If Linderbaum's still there, I think that's a different story. But that's a big loss. You know, you can say
it is.
You can say all you want, and teams do this all the time. The Bengals more than anybody. We know our fan base knows more than probably anybody what this saying, what it means and how often it's used. Like, oh, they overpaid for him. Okay, the Raiders overpaid for him. They've got a center, you don't.
Yeah.
And you got cap space. So who won?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you always say that, and the cap keeps going up. It's stupid to let someone go over $2 or $3 million. You're going to recoup that by inflation alone.
Yeah.
The NFL's league salary cap inflation will cover most of your quote unquote overpays, right? Mm-hmm. I think that was a bad move by Baltimore. And you can make an excuse for him, you know, about Crosby and all that stuff. And, you know, maybe it's true. Maybe they actually did want to sign him. And then they got burnt there or whatever, and he's gone. I think it's a horrible move by them, but I think the Bengals overall are number one, Baltimore 2, Cleveland 3, and Pittsburgh 4. Like you, I like the interior backups for the Bengals. I like Rivers, good enough. Lou, if he is what we think he could be, and I think Parker might be all right in a pinch. Mm-hmm. Certainly better than Volson, all three of them.
Yeah,
and he started. And you know, you go back to that 21 starting lineup. I'd take 2 or 3 backups over that. But you know, the tackle piece of it, I just can't believe they didn't address that. And maybe they will try, but
if they did, it'll have to be out of a trade.
Yeah,
I mean, there ain't nobody out there.
You could probably find somebody to get cut better than Ford.
To
play tackle, but I don't understand the rationale there. But overall, you know, like you said, the big ifs, and that applies to most teams, right? You start getting backups in the offensive line, that's not good for almost every team in the league. But if Brown's healthy primarily, you got to think Brown and Risner are a little older and Karras. If those three stay healthy, I think this offensive line is pretty good, and Mims is an ascending player. You got to think about it. Yeah, he's had a couple years in the league, but he didn't have a whole lot of playing time in Georgia, right? So I think he's still an ascending player.
Absolutely.
And I think Peters did a really good job with him, that offensive line coach. He knows how to use his hand. I'm a little biased here, but he is a jiu-jitsu black belt, high-level jiu-jitsu black belt. Knows how to use his hands, his hips, move, all that. If I was these guys, I'd make them all in the offseason, go take jiu-jitsu and wrestling, right? Teach you how to move your hips, how to use your hands. And I think they're going to be pretty good. And if they are, this offense is going to be lightning, my friend. Oh, before we break down the offense here, I forgot something, Stevie boy. Dad joke of the day. It's premiering right here. We talked about it. Are you ready?
Go with it.
Why does cheddar cheese go to the gym?
Talk to me.
Wants to get shredded. Boom. It's not bad. It's better than
for a dad joke.
It's better than the other joke I could have told. I'm not telling that one on the air. All right.
I don't know if it's better, but
it's probably not better as in laughter, but cleaner. Certainly cleaner. That was for you, Uncle Terry. All right. So let's look at positional value battles. I don't know that you could argue that Yoshi's battling for a starting position. I don't think he is. You could argue that the tight end position. I mean, all sample, I guess. Gesicki's going to get probably the primarily the most snaps, but it's not going to be at a true tight end, pseudo 4-wide slot type thing. But you could argue that Eric All, injuries, maybe they're battling for starter, but I think there's one of those three are going to get primarily most of the snaps. But the back end of the roster is pretty interesting, right? So you look at receiver. We'll start there and work ourselves down. Obviously Jamar T and Yoshi are the starters. I think Charlie Jones, if he's healthy, given his punt return abilities, will be on the team. Mitchell Tinsley, I think, will be on the team. So now that 6th receiver on, the guy you like, Keyshawn Williams, because of what he can do. Kendrick Pryor's still there. You got a lot of guys on the back end that aren't going to make it. So now Colby Young is in focus, right? And they got something. They took a lot of heat for that pick, and they should have. They should have took more from local media, which they never do. They cupcake media there, too soft on their asses. But Colby Young, is he battling for a roster spot? I think he is as a 4th-round pick. So he's not like, hey, he's going to give a spot. I think he's battling for that last receiver spot behind Tinsley and Charlie Jones. Your thoughts on that?
Absolutely, especially if the coaches do their job and they don't look at where they draft them and they just keep the best player. I think a lot of times they get blinders, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, we took him in the 4th round. Yeah, we can't do this. No, that's
if it's even close, we're keeping him, even though he is behind.
I really like Williams. I really do. And again, it was a sample size, but I'm telling you, this guy is quick. I haven't really, we really don't know. Because here's the thing: if Charlie goes down, which is almost guaranteed, right?
Seems to be.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then you're really limited. And then with how the return game has changed, now I say that, but it's more of, and special teams is a big deal here. So a lot of receivers, a lot of linebackers, these guys are going, and corners, they need special team players. And I mean, would you rather have a guy like Williams, or a guy like Young on special? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not even close.
He's got to prove himself, I think.
Yeah, he definitely is. And we didn't like the pick anyway, especially where they took him. So if the coaches do what their job, then 100% he's battling for a roster spot.
Yeah, you look at from the kickoff return, it's Charlie Jones, and you got P. Ryan there, and potentially Taj Brooks, but Keyshawn Williams, and Tinsley. Tinsley just doesn't have any pop to him. Right? He'll catch the ball on a punt return. Like, you can rely on that, but return yards you cannot. No. Not at all. I think that's kind of how that's going to work out. Offensive line, I think they typically keep 9, right? Practice squad aside.
Every once in a while 10, but most of the time 9.
I think it'll be 9. I think it's the 5 starters we already talked about. Cody Ford, Brian Parker II, Connor Lew, and Jalen Rivers, which leaves a hole, right? So Coker, I don't see him making. Robinson, some of these other guys. So that's 9, and that means Ford, in my opinion, is your 9th ranked guy there. I don't see anybody else on the current roster overtaking the 9 I mentioned. Do you agree?
I agree 100%. Those are the 9.
Yep.
Yeah.
But you never know what could happen. Free agencies, guys get cut, which they will. And they'll be scouring that waiver wire when that happens, or a potential trade like we talked about last week. Maybe.
And they will be high on the waiver wire starting off.
Yep, a lot higher than usual, unfortunately.
Probably top 10. Well,
yeah, definitely
sure.
Top 10. All right, tight end's kind of an interesting position to look at what's going on there. So you got Drew Sample. We talked about when we went over the roster, that position before. Drew Sample, Mike Gesicki, Eric All. I think if healthy, and All's the big question mark there with his knee, those 3 are a given. I think they'll keep 4. So you got Tanner Hudson, Cam Grandy, Jack Endries, Josh Caddis. I predict Tanner Hudson will not be on this roster. I think it's going to be Jack Endries. That's the 4 I got. Any disagreement on that?
No. Unfortunately, well, I say this lightly because I really like Tanner. But it's unfortunate that he doesn't get, we talked about last week, the props that he deserves. Joe loves him. But from what I hear, and again, this is just from people who've seen him or whatever, in shorts, injury looks like a dude.
Injuries?
Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, if he comes in and he can do any kind of anything that he can do in line, because a lot of these other guys, they just don't. Gesicki, Tanner Hudson, those guys don't do that.
All in Sample are just more blocking. All can make some plays.
He can make some plays. And they also said he looked good.
Hope so. I like it.
Me too. I think they keep 5 tight ends. I really do. Which means Tanner may be on that board. Like, if they keep 5, they'll have to take 1 from someplace else, whether it be a linebacker or maybe a corner. They got the corners that can do multiple things. I don't know. So we'll see.
We'll hit that when we hit the defense there. The defense tackle position, they got a bounty of them now. So quarterback, it will be Joe Burrow and Joe Flacco, and that's it. They took no projects in camp. You're going to see Burrow, Flacco, Josh Johnson, who's been with every team in the league, Sean Clifford, and they'll write stories about it. It's kind of like, I love Hard Knocks, and we'll have Ken Rogers on this year again. I haven't verified that with Ken. I'm just assuming he will, though. Pretty good relationship with him, right, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool to talk to him, and he'll be on. He's the producer now he's executive producer, the main guy of Hard Knocks. He'll come on with us, but Hard Knocks always does that back end of the roster, feel-good story and all that stuff, and I like it. I'm not knocking him. But Sean Clifford will get that treatment around here. He's from Cincinnati, and the Inquirer and everyone else will talk about it, but he has no chance of making the roster. So neither does Josh Johnson. So that'll be your 4 arms in camp. You never know. They'll probably bring in another one even at some point, potentially. So you get the preseason games, I can't imagine that Flacco's going to take a whole lot of snaps. So it's going to be pretty damn boring because you're going to see Josh Johnson and Sean Clifford. I'd rather see a young guy back there trying to make it, as we talked about before, but that's not the route they went. So, running back, Chase Brown is and will be the starter, clear cut. Sammy P. Ryan's getting a little tread left on those tires, right? He's taken a beating over the years, but he's still serviceable, I think.
Sure.
Taj Brooks, I like to see him get a little bit more run. I think that's the only three probably. Maybe they keep Brightwell or Kend. I don't think so, and Hayes and Bullet. But Brightwell has been around, and so's Kendall Milton, but I don't see the one there. I think it's three running backs, potentially maybe someone else off a waiver wire. But I think on this roster, those are the three backs you'll see on opening day. Concur.
I concur. Yeah, I don't. They could keep four, but I mean, if I don't think there's any reason because if you keep three, you're only going. Was it 47 on game day, right?
Yeah.
So I mean,
you got the special teams.
I mean, the guy's going to probably be not active anyway. Yeah. So I say three.
In the running back position, it's getting a little more pub. Well, getting a lot more pub the last 2 years because of Walker Barkley, and then this year with his name escapes me. Was I thinking the running back that got picked? Notre Dame. Jeremiah Love picked in the top 5. Certainly, at the highest end, I do believe the running backs get looked at better now. Mm-hmm. But when there's still a lot of teams, especially when you get the second, third running back, say, we could pick somebody off of the street, do just as well. I disagree with that philosophy, but overall, I think that's what the media is flying over us again, helicopters.
Yep.
So that's where we're at here on the Bengals, and then we'll wrap this up with a tricky discussion. So now I think nationally, the benchmark has changed for the Bengals nationally of what you and I talked about. I think locally it was there midway through free agency, and it only grew after some of the people they picked up.
Like Sexy Dexy.
Playoffs or bust, Super Bowl or bust. Now the national media is on it. Joe saying what he said kind of fueled that a little bit unintentionally. They jump on, they pile on, right? There's not a whole lot of original thoughts out there.
Right.
Oh, Joe said this. We think the Bengals are going to – you didn't say that 3 weeks ago, but that's how they do. So now the pressure – I think the pressure's on now.
It is.
If they have a flub season, if it's anybody but the Bengals, Zac is gone. If this is any franchise, maybe any franchise, definitely 25 or more, but maybe any outside of Cincinnati, if they win 7-8 games, he gone. They win 9 games and don't make the playoffs, he gone. I don't think that's the case here, but it could be. What do you think about that?
So this topic was my idea because I've been thinking about this a lot the last couple of weeks. Like, what is this season going to – what is it going to take for this season to be a success, right? Is it 10 wins, a playoff, and a playoff win? Is it a division title? Is it an AFC championship appearance, or is it a Super Bowl? With this organization, it is not a Super Bowl, and in my mind, it should be, but it is not an AFC championship. My thought, this is what I think. I think if they do not make the playoffs, I truly believe they will fire Zac. Now,
the heat will be on.
If they make the playoffs and the game is close or whatever, and that will matter. If they're right there, I can hear them say, well, we was right in it, blah, blah, I can hear it. But if they lose the first round, I still think that he stays around. I think it's playoff or they get rid of him. And I think it doesn't matter how many wins they have as long as they get in. I don't think it'll matter. If they have 9 wins and get in, I think he sticks around, especially if they win a game. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that's probably true. And the caveat, the excuse.
It's unfortunate, right?
The caveat will be there. The excuse, if Joe misses games, he's going to get a pass. Maybe that's fair. It probably is if it's the only season that's happened. But you're talking 3 years, 9-8 when he played the full year, right? So to me, I'd fired them both already.
You also paid $6 million to your backup quarterback for a reason,
too,
though, right?
That's true, yeah. But if it's me, they'd already been gone, as I've stated many, many times. And, sports have changed. The NFL's changed. I don't think pro sports have changed. I can't stand basketball, but the patience there is pretty thin, as it should be. And in the NHL, man, the Oilers, like I said, he gone, right? And they're not the only team that's doing that. Toronto was in the playoffs last year, went to semi. They haven't won anything since I don't know, I'll make it up, 60s. Might even be 50s.
Yeah.
So they have Austin Matthews in that they thought they were going to be back there. They didn't. Coach gone. Vegas fired their coach, who the Oilers want now. Vegas Knights are in the Stanley Cup final, if you don't know. I hate them. But they fired their coach midway through the season, and 2 or 3 of their best players were out. Farther than midway through the season. Tortorella, who used to coach the Blue Jackets, comes in, takes over. Now they're – you see it all the time. Like, sometimes you just need a new voice.
Yeah.
Sometimes the talent's there, and if it's not – and in most pro sports, when you've invested that much and you have those expectations and you don't reach it, owners are so hungry to win, they'll pull the trigger. I can't stand David Tepper with Carolina. But I guarantee you, if Young doesn't perform this year, his ass is gone. He doesn't care about the money. Yeah. He's there, like him or not, I don't. He's there to win. I think he's too involved. But if they underperform, he might fire the coach and kick the quarterback out. I'll take that any day over the week. Then, well, we tried our best. Oh, shucks, it didn't work 3 years in a row. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll take that over. Jerry Jones, your jury, you always hear that about him, but he hasn't been that way forever.
No.
He was when he shouldn't have been with Jimmy Johnson. Maybe that burning. He had the best coach. I'm not going to say he's better than Landry, but he had second best coach in franchise history, one of the best coaches of all time. Got in a power struggle with him. They won with Jimmy's players 1 year. How many have they won since?
Nothing.
Coach matters, man. That's the point of that. Is like, and you can recognize pretty quickly if you don't have the right one, right? Like Vrabel's in all kinds of hot mess. We've talked about it jokingly and everything else, but as a head coach, he's top notch. What happened in Tennessee? General manager got involved. Owner got involved. He leaves 1 year at New England. They're in the Super Bowl. Coaching still matters, man. It's more about your presence. X and O's, they're all kind of the same. Creativity on offense, but it's about that culture. We're going to win. When Ditka got the job in Chicago, Mike Ditka, way back when, 84, 83, whatever it was. He gets the job. He looks at everybody dead in the eye. See if you can imagine Zach saying this. Not just Zach. 90% of the coaches in the NFL today. Vrabel would say it. Sean Payton would definitely say it. Ditka looks at them all. Can you imagine being your first day? And that's not theorizer or what. Let's think about what it would be like. You're in a room full of big, strong, tough guys, alpha, that word's overused, men, Singletaries, Dents, Walter Payton, Jim McMahon. And you're in there and you look them all in the eye and say, the good news is we're going to win a Super Bowl. The bad news is most of you aren't going to be here to see it. Parcells, think about how you treat, like those, but it sets the tone, and ultimately those players will run through a wall for that coach. Mm-hmm. It takes a little bit to not hate him, or maybe Jimmy Johnson, Troy Aikman, right? So Zach's not that. But to be fair, there's not too many that are right now. So I think you're right, but it's Mike Brown. I don't know. I just can't imagine. I don't understand why they didn't already do it, especially with Duke, because you admitted the mistake.
Yeah.
But he's like our son. We love him.
Yeah.
So they've admitted that he screwed it up for years. He's almost admitted it. I'll still, if they win one this year, I'll look at it differently. But if they win this year, both you and I will be ecstatic. But 7 years from now, Joe retires, let's say, they've got one title. I'm still going to look back at it and say, if this was any other franchise that wasn't ran by Duke Tobin, Mike Brown, and Zac Taylor, you're talking dynasty with trophies on the wall.
Yeah.
They didn't do it, and it's gone now. There's nothing you can do about that, right? Mm-hmm. Do you agree with that?
I do, especially when it hasn't been 100% Zach's fault, and you just said it. I mean, the offensive line issues that they had early on, right?
21, that was a ridiculous field to put those guys on the field.
Right.
And so, Bobby Hart? Whatever.
Right. And you put Adeniji, you put Joe in harm's way after play, right? Against some of the best defensive players in the world.
In that division.
Hold on. Some of the best athletes in the world.
Yep.
You know what I mean? These guys are special athletes. You put that pathetic excuse on the field. So I think in a way they gave him a pass because of their flaws, which is just embarrassing. And I mean, did I even say it out loud? But if I truly believe now that they think they went all in, which I think me and you both think they went all in, right?
Pretty close to it.
Yeah. So if they don't get it and they don't win pretty big, Zac's gone. And again, 9 wins, 10 wins, and a playoff win, he's 100% staying.
It's still underachieving. If everybody's healthy, that's underachieving.
I mean, well, hell, we both think they're going to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So, and I'm not even being facetious about it. I really believe, thank you, I really believe that they can win a championship, just like Joe said. They got what they need because I think they got a top 12 to 18 defense right now on paper. And honestly, the more I think about it, they may be better.
Yep.
Because if those linebackers, I'm telling you, dude.
If Lawrence is Lawrence.
Yes. Hell, if he's 75 or 80% of Lawrence.
He's the best DT
and if BJ plays the way he is, and
Allen too.
If Allen gets the one-on-ones.
No, he's tough.
You know what I mean? Yep. And to where, Lawrence gets those double teams and he gets those one-on-ones, he can get those 3 to 5 sacks. In the interior, they didn't even get anything close to that last year.
No,
you know what I mean?
It was awful.
So
you'd had to been you would have played better than those two at linebacker, no doubt. But it'd been tough to be very good at all because you got no protection.
No protection.
You remember Ray Lewis?
Well, of course I do.
You remember when Syracuse and all them guys left?
Mm-hmm.
He struggled, man. They can rewrite history all they want. Go back and watch the tape. He wasn't their level, of course.
Right.
But he did not play that well.
No.
And then they fixed it. They got a defensive tackle in there to protect him, and then, he's back to himself. It's just tough to play when you're that bad on the inside. They'll use the comparison to baseball, and I get it. And I pretty much agree with it. It's down the middle, right? Baseball, you win down the middle. Catcher, pitcher, second base, shortstop, and center field, right? Mm-hmm. And in football, I think and they've stunk on defense at it. I mean, horrible, right? Since Reeder's gone. So, and really, Reeder took his last year, he wasn't the same, right? So, yeah, it was, so we'll see. And, I'll say that. I'm not going to say that was the first big word you've used on the show because you've used a lot of big words incorrectly. But that is the first time you've used a big word and been correct. Nice job, brother. You're coming around.
Thank you.
You're coming around. Halfway insulted, and you still gave me a fist bump. I like that.
So I read the dictionary today.
Did you?
The whole thing.
Sounds like you had a productive day at work.
Yeah. I mean, it helped.
Help you in all facets. All right, let's talk about the Ring of Honor. So it's upcoming. They changed the format of it a little bit, and we still don't understand what the criteria is. Maybe they don't either. Maybe there's still a bunch of names on there. But I'll say this, and I'll give it to you. I get that they're doing fan voting, but I think I would do some sort of historical voting of former players, former Bengals execs, somebody that's got something to it. And I would do a fan vote, but I'd have that weighted more. I wanted Trumpy in last year, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
And now, look, I just think you don't get in because you're old and all that, but Trumpy was a hell of a player and a hell of an announcer, too.
Mm-hmm.
And he was around here. I thought he should have been in. It won't be the same now, but kind of wish they had a different criteria, or at least there was some sort of criteria. So we'll see. But a lot of good names on there. And talk about your thoughts on this Ring of Honor class. And did they announce when they're doing it? I can't remember if I saw
They have an announcement. Okay. As far as I've seen, I haven't seen where.
Either, so, yeah.
I'm not real happy with it at all.
Really?
What they should have done is not added these young guys, because they added AJ Green, which, hey, first ballot, Ring of Honor, right? But the problem is he quit 3 years ago.
Yeah,
okay.
Space.
Geno Atkins, first ballot. Hell of a player. Then they kind of went, okay, then it's Carlos Dunlop, then it's Leon Hall, and then it's Andrew Whitworth.
All three deserving.
All three of those guys deserve it, but they don't deserve it right now. You know what I mean? These guys have barely been out of the game. I mean, hell, most of them, other than Whitworth, are below 40. You know what I mean? So, what they should have done, if they was going to add, they should have still added. I mean, there's multiple, like Rudy Johnson. he's the
He was
all-time
tough,
single season rusher for the Cincinnati Bengals. He was a hell of a player. And I believe didn't he passed, right?
Yeah.
He
just
passed.
recently we talked about it.
Like a couple years ago.
Less than that,
maybe. I wish they would either let the 7. I don't have the 7, but I know good and well it's James Brooks, it's Williams, it's Fulcher, Trumpy, Breach, Williams. That's 6 of them.
Yeah, Fulcher's
That's pretty
tough.
good.
Yeah, Fulcher's tough.
But they probably should have left it with those 7. And if you're going to add, what's the coach they had after Forrest Gregg? Took him to an AFC Championship game, took him to the Super Bowl.
He's a hell of a coach, period. Yeah.
Hell of a coach. Why not throw him in there? You know what I mean? Marvin Lewis is the all-time winningest coach for Cincinnati Bengals.
A lot of playoffs, man. Talk what you want.
You know what I mean? I get all that, but I just don't see putting all them new guys in when they did. Eddie Brown, Tim McGee. Those were players for 4, 5, 6 years. And those guys, I think, at least could be in the conversation.
Yeah,
they may not make it, but these younger guys, they're going to make it. You know what I mean? Why do it now?
It's modern people voting,
right? Why do it now?
I am being derogatory to young folks that are listening. Sorry, I was going to say I'm not going to be, but I am. Like the truth of it is, this is an old guy talking. No, the truth of it is, like people. I had this conversation about music and TV shows with somebody, more so TV shows. Well, I don't know what that is. I'm whatever age. I was like, okay. When I was your age, like if I'm 25 or whatever right now, I knew players in the 60s and 70s.
Oh, absolutely.
In every sport, and I still do. You throw up a trivia from 1965, whatever, I'm probably going to get most of them. And I know all the music back then. I think it's, the internet of things more than social media, but the combination of the two, they don't know what. That's why I get so mad at the sports media. And I lit some people up on air before over this. Like, you don't know what happened the day before you, so don't talk to me about history of football, dude. And I've said it that way to him. Like, they don't know the history of it. And they'll box score scout. It's like we talked about, man. It's a different game. You didn't throw the ball 35 times a game. And if you get went over the middle, you got your ass handed to you, right?
Sure.
A lot of guys you love now, they're not going over the middle then because they'd be crying and weeping in their towel. They wouldn't have Hall of Fame numbers, right?
That needs to be taken in.
Oh, absolutely. It's totally different game. So, yeah, it's tough. I know somebody that played for Forrest Gregg that, loved him like a father, right? He coached around.
Dave loved him.
Yeah,
Dave Lapham.
I think everyone did. He's a fireball, too, Forrest Gregg was. So, he coached Cincinnati, Cleveland, I think. I think he coached in Cleveland before Cincinnati. I think he did in the 70s.
He did.
And he coached Green Bay.
That's how Paul remembered it.
Okay. Yeah, so he's been around, hell of a coach. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that plays out. James Brooks, we were talking about him, undersized. Ironically, only had – this is where you'd box score scout. He only had 3,000-yard seasons, but he was at it, around it a lot. And but he split carries with Ickey. He split carries a lot.
That's what I was going to say.
1986, he had 5.3 yards an attempt. And as you pointed out, 12.7 yards a catch. 1986, the Super Bowl year, he had 931 yards and 8 touchdowns. And think about how many Ickey stole from him, where he'd run him down the field and Ickey get the touchdown.
Sure.
Ickey had, 12, 13, maybe more than that, 88.
He had a bunch.
Yeah. So, he was a hell of a player on some bad teams and, a couple good teams there. So
I think he makes it this year.
James Brooks?
Yeah. It's either him or Trumpy because I think people, which unfortunate, right, that he'll make it because he passed. And it's like we should have probably done it last year. Right?
That's the nature of the world, right?
Yeah.
To honor somebody after they pass. I had this discussion about local music around here. How about we honor people while they're alive and still after they pass?
Yeah.
So career yards, James Brooks, 7,962. He played with a bunch of
Which
teams.
is a good number.
Heck yeah, it is.
That's a good number.
There's Hall of Famers that don't have that many.
No.
Terrell Davis didn't have that.
No.
I know he didn't play as many years, but 49 touchdowns.
Does it show his catches?
Yeah. He had 383 career catches for 3,621 yards.
What's
and 30
his average?
touchdowns.
Does it say his average?
9.5 a catch.
Wow. Dude.
As a running back.
For that decade, that's unreal.
He's getting walloped, but he delivered the wallop.
Sure he did.
He was big. He wasn't big, but he was strong as an ox for his size.
And he ran like he was big, though.
He ran over people.
And he played till he was 34?
Yeah, he kind of tailed off after 91, right? Bounced around, played a couple teams, including Cleveland, and then finished with Tampa Bay. at the age of 34 years old. So
he was my favorite player growing up.
He was fun to watch.
Boomer.
Yeah, he's fun to watch. Heck of a player. So career 11,583 scrimmage yards. So,
that's great.
Yep, very good. Up there, you go through the Hall of Fame, you're going to find a lot of guys less than him.
Yep.
And he played in a very tough league, very physical league. All right, we transition. We'll do a little self-bragging here. You know what somebody told me one time? He who doesn't toot his own horn goes untooted. Something like that. So I would have flashed back. This is how this
guy's brilliant.
He is. Whoever said, I think it was a she. So you go back. So I'll refresh you real quick about the 2018 draft because it was a good draft, especially now. You got Barkley, Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Denzel Ward, Quentin Nelson, Josh Allen, and Derwin James. The reason I bring it up is because Derwin James has signed highest paid safety in the league right now, right? Understandably so. So I got into some melees on TV, on major radio stations, programs, doesn't matter where, and podcasts galore because I went on record at the Senior Bowl with scouts, everyone else, and said Josh Allen's the best player. And I looked at a GM in the eye, two of them. Said Josh Allen's the best player in this draft. You don't take him, you're going to regret it. So who'd you really have now, Mayfield or Allen? It's not even close. Sure. Yeah. So the biggest argument I got into, ironically, because people, they argued about the quarterback, but it was Minkah Fitzpatrick versus Derwin James. And here's what I said. I remember like it was yesterday. It was a heat when I told you about this. So I got off the call. I'm sweating. I was like, I know the guy pretty well. He's a big name guy. And we got into it pretty well. I was like, he set me up, man. I'm mad in the car, faces all red, because we went at it. You know, it was clean because it was live radio. I was like, I can't believe he did that to me. And I get a text. I'm looking at it and it's him. I was like, mother, open it up. Man, that was a great show. Good stuff. Thanks. So he was just baiting me the whole time. So I said, Minkah Fitzpatrick is limited. Think about it. I said, I don't know what he's great at. Sure, he can do a lot of things. He's a Swiss Army knife. But what is he great at? What I said about Baker Mayfield, what's he great at? Well, he's a good athlete. I said, he's not by that. No, he's not. He's an okay athlete for a quarterback. Minkah, I said, you can move him around. I said, don't get me wrong. I'll take him in the first round. Mayfield too. But I don't think either one of them are elite. So I said, Derwin James is a high-level player. I don't know how anyone could take Minkah Fitzpatrick over him. Miami took Minkah 11. Derwin James went 17. Minkah's been around the league. Derwin James is the highest paid safety. You see what those mistakes can do to you? And believe me, I've missed mine too. But in that draft, I was more prepared because I put in more work until this year. And you got DJ Moore. You think about that, Cincinnati took Billy Price. Turned out okay because they got BJ Hill, but they still had to wait. DJ Moore goes.
Who went in front of him?
In front of who? Billy Price?
Yeah.
Oh, well, Leighton Vander Esch, I loved him, but he had a neck issue. Jair Alexander in front of him.
Well, there was a center that went before Billy Price.
Frank Ragnow, he's a good player.
Yeah.
That's one pick before.
One pick. That's who they wanted.
Yeah, Frank Ragnow's a good player. But DJ Moore, Calvin Ridley, Terrell, Edmonds is okay. So, you look after that. But that top of that draft, man, that's a loaded draft, 2018. And then the Bengals could have had Chubb right then, right?
Yep.
And you look at New England. New England went third, and Lamar Jackson's just hanging out there all the way to 32nd. I don't like him now. I said I'd take him in the top 15. I think I had him ranked the third best quarterback. Mm-hmm. They didn't, right? And you look at Nick Chubb was there too. And, you think about Nick Chubb now, injuries, knee injuries, 7,000.
For running back though, right?
54 touchdowns, 7,349 yards. I think Nick Chubb was better than Barkley before all the injuries. I think he's better than Barkley. He was just better. You needed 3 or 4 yards, he's going to go get it. He's not going to dance around. He was consistent.
Overall, yes.
He was a better player.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Barkley has had some fantastic years, but I think consistent and staying on the field until lately. Yep. But he's also up in age now.
Nick Chubb, but Barkley didn't do that well with the Giants. I think you put Chubb, that team wasn't very good, Browns. You put him anywhere in any team before the injuries, he could play.
Yeah.
Remember when we left that Bengals-Browns game?
Yep.
The Bengals drive down, Burrow throws the pick six. And then Chubb ran all over.
Yeah,
it was embarrassing, right?
It was one of the worst games we've ever been to.
And the Bengals got Jesse Bates at 54, right? Heck of a pick. And then Brian O'Neill, the right tackle, goes 62nd. Who would you rather have, Brian O'Neill or Billy Price?
Yeah.
It's the players are typically there.
Yeah.
It just may not be the first round. Cortland Sutton goes in the second round. So that's a really good draft. So transition real quick, and I'm not going to get political here, I promise, Steve. But I'm going to speak about politics without getting political. Can it be done? I'm going to show you.
Maybe.
Here's what I want, and I think you agree. I haven't talked to you about this. I just want politics out of sports. Wouldn't that be nice?
It would be.
Do you ever remember talking about politics when you were a kid? No. They do now. All these kids do. When I was turning on the Bears-Giants game where they said, oh, Lawrence Taylor talked to Bush. No. If he did, they didn't care. Mm-hmm. So now it's the clickbait. So, again, I like Mike Florio, as you know, but he's very liberal, and it doesn't take you long to see that. But the guy, Ben Volen, or whatever his name is from the Patriots, a big name. So he comes out. Jaxson Dart introduced Trump at something in New York, right? If that's what he wants to do, that's what he wants to do. I don't have an opinion whether he should have or shouldn't have done it. My whole thesis on here is Florio starts bumping his gums. Volen, or whatever his name is, bumps his gums. People went at Ben Volen hard on Twitter. You don't have to say X. You don't have to say anything because they will. So my question would be, if that was at what's the guy's name they just drafted? Is it Carter? Or I think it was Abdul Carter that bumped his gums about it. Did you see that? Yeah. So if Abdul Carter was visiting President Kamala Harris, don't laugh, and did the same thing, would Florio and Volen write stories about it being controversial? They wouldn't. That's the problem. You either do it or you don't. Either do it or don't, or shut the bleep up. Florio and Volen. So Giants players went after Ben and said, hey, how about you cover the Patriots? I loved it. There's no controversy here. Like, if somebody wants to support the president, let them do it. This is America, right? That's how I think. But don't write about it. You're a sports columnist. Shut the up. I hate it.
I don't like it either.
And they're biased when they do it. I mean, if you were cutting with a straight edge both ways, I might give you a little bit of a pass. But come on. We can see through you, Ben. We know who you are, you liberal. Just shut the hell up, right? And like somebody said to him, I think you got a bigger problem there with your coach sleeping with a reporter, man. Why don't you cover that, right? Like, it's just so ridiculous. You agree with me? Just shut the hell up.
I do. I just want to watch and listen to football.
Like I said this to somebody a long time ago, like, because they got in an argument with me about it mixed. Well, they can do whatever they want. If I buy a history book and I'm on chapter 37, it's a U.S. history book. I'm on chapter 37. And then they insert Cosmopolitan or some women's magazine, that doesn't make sense to me. I bought a history book. I'm turning on a football show. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't hardly get away with anything. You can't get away from anything. I'm turning on a football show. You know, when another guy and I did a podcast that became pretty popular, our slogan was a football show about football. Now that's a big deal. That's a catchy slogan because they all want to be cute. You know what I'm saying? It's unbelievable. Moving on. Sorsby lost his NCAA fight temporarily. They'll file an appeal. I don't know what he's trying to accomplish now. He wants the money from Texas Tech, and I get that. And Texas Tech certainly wants him to play, and I get that as well. You know, they got championship aspirations, and I think they're real if he plays. I do. I think they're real. I think if he plays, that team is good enough to compete for a championship. If he doesn't, who knows, right? But so now he's going to appeal. Wouldn't you just bite the bullet? Your time is running out. I think the deadline for the supplemental draft is just a couple weeks. I think it's going to play out. He's going to lose, go supplemental draft. I think somebody puts a first and maybe a second, but maybe a first on him, and it's all over. Your prediction?
So the one big reason why his camp is probably telling him something, sure. You know what I mean, that is making him want to fight this.
There's sure a lot of money on the table. He's probably trying to recoup it and go pro anyway, right?
Probably more money on the table now is if he goes pro, right?
Yeah.
So, well, for sure.
Definitely.
So, I mean, that's probably the driving point on this.
It's always money.
It's money.
Follow the money.
You know, football is probably second to him right now. I mean, because he would be set up pretty much right away, right? So, I'm probably on the fence here, but just because we really don't know what. I don't think there'll be a team that wants to give up a one for him. I really don't.
If you know you're going to pick in 27th or 28th, though, you got an older quarterback.
But you don't know you're going to do that.
Don't know.
Somebody gets hurt, and all of a sudden you're like the Bengals, and you think you're going to be 10-6, or Yeah, 6-11. Yeah, or sorry, 11-6. You become 6-11.
But
and then you're
is
picking
he worth
the top 10?
Is he worth the 12th pick? Though he probably is, man.
I don't think he is, but
it's a loaded quarterback class. That's going to hurt him.
Yeah, I think he's more of the third, maybe a second if it's a low second, just because you just don't know what you're going to get with him. You hope that his attitude and this thing that he's going through is just, I mean, he's an adult, right? If I kind of look at it that way, I mean, his personal life, he wants to gamble, he wants to gamble. Now, how he done it is wrong, right?
I guess. I'm not even sure of that.
I mean, I don't know. When you're an athlete, I think you said a few weeks ago, when you're an athlete, there's certain expectations that you need to meet.
Yeah.
You know, and if you do things that you know that you're not allowed doing, what's that say about your character, right? So I don't know. I don't think he's worth that. I really don't.
I think you look at it from his standpoint. Would you rather stay a year and be in the first round, potentially first round next year? But it's a loaded class, dude. Like we talked about. Or are you better going right now when you're not competing against anybody and they say, hey, I can get this guy for a year. He might be better to be in the supplemental draft than be in the first round next year. Because you got, all the guys we talked about already, right?
Yeah, but some of the teams you're talking about that's picking 26, 27, 28, they're probably teams that are going to be good already, and they probably already set a quarterback. So where is he going to be? Is he going to be second, third, fourth, fifth? You're already late getting in. Like
get a full year though. You get that extra year.
I get it. There's pros and cons both ways.
It's extra year of earning, right?
Yeah.
Extra year out of your contract.
Sure.
Right? So you don't have the first year option. Now you're out of that fourth year quicker.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways to look at it. And I think, Sims said this, Chris Sims, and, I tend to agree with him and Florio on this. I don't think you can say this in a vacuum like they did, but so you're going to go out and try to ruin a kid's life because he's betting on rugby or whatever. Like Sims said, he knows this person that calls him about this. They're walking around on their phone. It's not like he's driving to a bookie on the corner. And I agree with them 100%. That's their analogy, not mine. I agree with it. Sim said it. It's not like he's going to some mafia guy. He's picking up a phone like you or I can do right now and bet on if there's a women's soccer game and bet on it.
Who the NFL sponsors.
Yes.
Who is sponsored by the NFL.
You'll see him advertised all over.
Yeah.
Now, if he's betting on college games that he's playing in, which I don't think he did, we don't know. It's a Pete Rose thing here, right? And
that's different.
If he didn't, I don't see the big hubbub. If he did, he gone.
Agreed.
But to go to like counseling for it and all that, that's all semantics. I know doesn't sit well. It's all semantics. It's all for a show. What are they doing? We're going to teach you how to. I just don't. Are you an addict? I mean, we don't know how much he bet. Maybe he is. But the things that he supposedly bet on by research, who cares?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're betting on polo. Who gives a? Like, is it really hurt? Was he practicing? Did he play well? I didn't hear UC complain.
Mm-hmm.
They don't
well enough. Texas Tech gave him a lot of money.
Yeah, they didn't see anything wrong with this game. Yeah, it probably did some of it already.
Yeah,
so
probably.
That's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. A lot of drama lines. Josh Jacobs, the Rice kid in Kansas City. The sad part about the Dart thing and this Sorsby, those two things somehow get more attention than the things that Jacobs and Rice and them are doing. That's a problem. Morally, ethically, that's a problem. That's why I have a hard time when the NFL wants to beat their chest. We support it. No, you don't. No, you don't. It's all for show, right? It's political theater. Like what Rice has done and what Jacobs may have done, we'll see. It hasn't played out yet. Like if you really cared about all that, they'd be out of the league if they're found guilty, right? You don't care because if they're good enough, you'll bring them back. Mm-hmm. So I think the Sorsby thing will be interesting to see how it plays out. We got a lot to talk about next edition. We'll be back talking about the Bengals defensive line. That's going to be a fun topic. What it looks like at edge, what it looks like at defensive tackle. We made this from here on out because we're going to be crunched for time as we do every position. We'll talk about cut candidates as we go through each position instead of the whole offense or the whole defensive side. So defensive line next week, what we expect, who will win the backups, who's fighting for a roster spot, who's out. Kind of the coolest position to talk about on the Bengals right now, ironically.
It is.
Got a lot coming up, Steve. Well, I'm excited. Summer's here.
Me too.
A lot of football. Camp's going to be opening. A lot to talk about, my friend. Let's go. Take us home.
Also, traffic. Stay to the right. Peace out.
Out.
Voices rise.